Okay. We can call the meeting to order there, Clerk Kern, you got a time? 7:03. Okay, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Good, thank you all for coming. We get a roll call, please. Clerk Ferd.
Well, I can name us for sure.
Yeah, we're
Okay, Supervisor Bertram. Trustee Dinkmer.
Yeah.
Treasurer Hunt.
Here.
Clerk Brown. Here. And let's see, tomorrow.
Tamala.
Pamela. All
Tamala.
right.
Yep, here.
Brian. Martha.
Here.
John? Oh, wrong name. Two more. Doug. Yeah, be careful with that. And. Wow. Okay, over here.
Okay. I want to read this. The purpose of this meeting is to allow the Lyon Township Board an opportunity to hear from the 3 Lyon Township Higgins Lake Utility Authority representatives concerning current issues they are at liberty to discuss involving the Higgins Lake Utility Authority. Other members of the HLUA board may be present, but as a starting point, the Lyon board would like input primarily from the 3 Lyon Township representatives on the Higgins Lake Utility Authority board. The meeting and the public comments following the meeting will be recorded and posted on the Lyon Township webpage. I want to make clear here that public comment will be 3 minutes per person at the end, but any questions in the public comments addressed to the Higgins Lake Utility Authority members or to the Lyon Township board members will be answered only at the discretion of the Higgins Lake Utility Authority board members and the Lyon Township board members. As in any other meeting, the public has the right to give input. There does not have to be a required answer from who you're addressing. We hope to keep this running smooth. It'll be a little difficult to run with the discussion and this many people going, but I'm sure we'll get through it. So let's start with some guest introductions. Some of you may not even know us. So how about we start here?
Steve Duffner, Lyon Township Trustee.
Okay, Paul Bertrand, Supervisor, Lyon Township.
Treasurer. I don't know. Are you the treasurer? I'm the clerk.
Kevin Hicks, Treasurer.
Ron Larson, Higgins Lake Utility Authority.
Brian Cook, Higgins Lake Utilities Authority, Vice Chair and Treasurer.
Tamala Gage, Higgins Lake Utility Authority Secretary.
Marcia Jansen Wilson, Higgins Lake Utility Authority.
Doug Kuiper, I'm chair of Higgins Lake Utility Authority.
Okay, thank you. For our purposes, the Lyon Township Board, could you, at least the Lyon Township representatives, give us some brief background on yourself and the job that you do there, and to make sure that we have it on public record here.
I'll go first. My name is Tamala Gage. I've been up here since my grandparents bought a place in Camp Cornelium 59. I was born in 61. Parents moved my brother and I after in 71. I currently took over my mom's beauty shop, the Clip and Curl, down by the Silver Dollar. I live in Markey Township, but I have the beauty shop and the place in Lyon Township. I first was looking into a place to volunteer and knew that there was a 50-50 position on the HULA board. So I went and applied for that. talked to both of the supervisors at that time. And they decided that I wasn't quite right for the job, and I kept going to meetings, so I had about a little over a year's worth of meetings before, Doug Chanel appointed me to the board. And a little history there, Bill King stepped down because he wasn't gonna be here in the winter. So they appointed, Jim, our camp president, for about 3 months. Oh, Jim replaced you, so Marcia replaced Bill King. Brian got fired, and then, Jim, I can't think of his last name. Downey, Jim Downey was in for about 3 months, and then Bill Iyer replaced him because Jim had a full plate. Jim was gonna be leaving for the winter months.
Yes.
I replaced Bill Iyer.
Yeah.
They wanted, so apparently Jim and Bill Iyer had talked with, Doug Schnell, and they wanted someone who was gonna be in the area year round. And I was on the list, so they contacted me and I agreed. And here we are today.
But you're the 50-50.
No, Brian is the 50-50. They had appointed me to the Lyon Township.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That's what I had originally had applied for, was the 50-50.
Okay, thank you much.
You're welcome.
And who would like to go next?
I can. I'm Marcia Jansen Wilson. I've been up at Camp Cornelia since I was a little child and I inherited the cottage. And I think in the summer of 23, I think I talked to Doug Schnell or Betty or someone said, I'd kind of be interested to be on the board. Well, then I got a call because there was an opening and I don't know what happened. I was interviewed and I got voted in and there you go. And I knew nothing about it. I thought it was, I didn't sure what it was. I wasn't sure. And I've learned a lot. The budgets. At first, I disagreed with Brian and Doug a lot. And when they wanted to raise it, and I'm kind of learning how to budget things, and so it's a learning curve. There's a lot to know.
Yes, there is.
All right, thank you, Marcia.
Yeah.
Who would like to go next there?
Brian Cook, I've been on the Utility Authority Board for approximately 10 years now. I was chair at one time. I was secretary for a couple years. Currently, I'm the vice chair and treasurer. And I also hold the business coordinator position, which is somebody with the utility authority to take care of things between board meetings for the utility authority. That came into being when Paul Tatro retired at the end of 2019, and the board decided to hire an administrator and not a business manager, and the board took over management of the utility authority at that time. Subsequently, we learned that we've got a gap that needs to be filled here because the contractors need someone to contact to get information from the utility authority about stuff. So originally Doug took the admin side and I took the operations side. And then eventually I took over both at a later point. Like I said, I've been on there for a long time. I've been coming out up here. My grandfather built the cabin I now live in 59 in the camp. I now live in Camp Cornelia. I've been living there for about, since 2011 full time. I've been coming up here my whole life. I've worked with previous Lyon Township boards, current and previous Beaver Creek Township boards. Originally, I was in IT, in telecom, and then I went into IT and medical billing. I've owned my own business, doing marine repair. I got a quite broad area background. I have an associate's degree in industrial electronics and a bachelor's degree in computer information systems. So I'm quite familiar with all the stuff, electronics and everything that the plant uses to operate stuff. Just probably about it, unless you guys.
No, just, you know, a lot of us don't know each other that well.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Who'd like to be next?
Ron Larson, I was appointed just recently to this board in Beaver Creek Township. I'm on the Township Board of Review. I'm an elected county road commissioner from Crawford County. I have a CDL. I did have at one time an operator's one license for wastewater and waste management and drinking water. I've always enjoyed serving my community, and I've been a lifetime resident of the area, Crawford County and Beaver Creek Township.
When were you appointed?
Just recently, let's see,
2 months.
2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
So this
Yeah, I don't remember.
is my first week.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing your name much.
No, there were,
I was at some meetings that was just a whole.
they appointed Ron's on the county commission or the county road commission. Their meetings are at the same time as ours was. So that was a conflict. And that's why we changed our meeting days to Mondays so that Ron could be part of the board. And there was no conflicts there.
Okay,
And I'm Doug Kuiper, born and raised here, been here my whole life, served for 6 years in the Navy. Owned a small business here in town, quit doing appraising, became an assessor and been on this, 8 years, something like that. Been the chair for probably, 5?
6 years.
Yeah, something like that, so. Thanks, me.
thank you, Doug. Next, I'd like to do Lyon Township Board comments. I can start. I wanted to make something clear. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on, but I did see an email that suggested then that at a meeting of the Lyon Township Board, when we were discussing this previously, some of the board individual comments, we say a lot of things individually. But some of those comments were portrayed in that email letter as being the board said, the board stated. None of that happened. If this board made a decision, it was a motion and a decision. So I don't know how many other people have seen that email or gotten it, but there were many references about what this board had said. Yes, we all said a lot of different things. That none of those were board positions. I just want to be clear on that. Any other Lyon Township Board comments?
Well, yeah, I have a few. 2 weeks ago, I didn't know we had representatives on the thing. That's my fault. I should have known that. But, in the last week or so, I mean, I knew we had Brian. I've been dealing with him now for,
Push that mic.
Mike's too close. Okay. I know Brian and I have been talking for 7 months, 8 months, whatever it is. But, Tammy and Marsha, I just met in the last couple of weeks and I'm very pleased to have met them. I saw the other two gentlemen, Ron and Doug at their meeting a couple of nights ago. And I was pleased how smoothly that went. That was a good meeting. You interacted with the audience. You asked questions, you answered questions. This is pretty nice. I had no idea until we had our last work session and then our board meeting that there was a big issue with Camp Green and all this other, and those people were irate that were here. There was probably 20 to 25 of them. They had issues we knew nothing about, or at least I knew nothing about. I shouldn't speak for the rest of them, but I knew nothing about. And, you know, there was some talk and hopefully we get some of this straightened out tonight. So thank you for coming.
Anything else from Lyon Township Board members?
So I don't have any comments, I have mine are more questions. You wanna do those?
Well, next would be to proceed with a discussion which I'd primarily like to hear from our three reps, position on what's currently going on, what the problems are, and then eventually we're gonna get into questions from us.
Just one of the big things that I heard when the people came to our meeting was that, they couldn't get a hold of people on the board by phone, that they would call. They couldn't leave a message, nobody would answer the phone. And that was probably one of the biggest concerning things to me, is people trying to get in touch with people. And so I don't know where that issue came from, or if it's like was a momentary glitch or what it was, but that'd be a good thing to get cleared up.
Any other comments from the Lyon Township Board? Okay, I'd like to hear from either Tamala or Marcia. Maybe explain what's going on, in a manner that we can get a really reasonably good understanding, and then move to Brian and the rest of you, but primarily you two.
I'm gonna need some clarification as far as what you're talking about, as far as what's going on. Like, I see myself personally several issues.
Yes, go for them all.
Well, I can't, all of them I cannot answer, like, there's the whole mediation things with past due accounts, which the phones don't normally get answered, they go to an answering machine. That resulted in some changes there because of the amount of calls that came. When they're complaining about the price increases that we do, our budgets go from July to June. New budget has to be approved by, or July. If we're gonna do an increase in our budget, it's going to happen the 1st of July. There are only 405 cabins, no matter what our budget is, it's divided by 405 cabins. Bottom line. Miscommunication is very much a big thing, with the public and how they contact with them, talking amongst themselves. I think a lot of, I don't want to say so much mistruths, but the stories get kind of jacked out of shape a little bit the farther it goes.
Well, we appreciate that. We certainly don't need to get into any of the, who's at blame. Are you satisfied since you took the job that, you're going there? Because I know we're not keeping in contact with you, but we will start.
Well, I gotta say, I was very impressed when these two showed up Monday night, because I've been on the board over a year and then was there for a year, just going to meetings, and never once did anyone from Lyon Township Board show up. Dan Bonamine, the old supervisor, was there a couple times. Kim Van Nook, she's there every week now.
Well, only two could go for the same.
Oh, yeah, and I understand that, but yeah, it's like, once you kind of get the gist of how things work, Brian and I went out, he showed me the plants. I have a much better understanding of when service is talking about, discharging in this pond and that pond. Have a lot better understanding of how that all works. And part of my thing, as far as like buying the new grinder pumps, which they're not cheap, but they're, we're what, 15, 17 years into this. Most lifespan on a grinder pump is 8 to 10. Like, do we wait until they all just go, or do we start actively managing, when we get a service call? So we made a couple adjustments there as far as how ops services handles that. But no, I've enjoyed being the secretary. I think it's a good way for me to serve my community. It's not really what I had in mind dealing with sewage, but you know what? Somebody's got to do it, and it's part of everyday life. And me personally, at our beach area, we're on the way north end, I see a huge difference down there in water quality since the sewer was put in. Like, we have no algae on like the dock posts and those kind of things. So like I just think it's a good thing that, I know none of us really like to pay that back 15 years ago, but I think the end result has been a good thing.
Okay, thank you. If there was anything you'd like to suggest in regards to how we interact Lyon Township boards with you as the Lyon reps. Got any ideas right now?
Checking like when our meeting minutes get posted on the website. Like hold up, you know, if you got a question or before things would escalate. Like, I think it's great to see one of you there at the board meeting. It shows us that, you know, we have the support of the township, that we're doing a good job or we're not doing a good job, whatever the case is.
Well, when we hear it.
I know. I'm like,
Well,
do the job, you know?
Only will plead the fifth. It was my own fault for not investigating more, but I didn't know there was meetings.
Right.
I didn't know anything about it. So all I can do is throw myself on the mercy of the court, but I won't miss many now. Because I find it interesting to hear other people's observations, their thoughts on certain things, and then act on those. And I didn't know any of those thoughts. And I'm very pleased to have met all of you.
Thank you.
Well, I can speak. When I joined, I knew nothing about the board. I was gonna go in there and, you know, we're gonna do this. And, you know, our bills and stuff. And then when we started working on the budget, boy, were my eyes opened. And I have disagreements with them and I tell them, I couldn't see even this last year, they wanted to raise it quite more. And I said, no, I couldn't let them do that. And we kind of worked together and come, you know, with a cost, and we negotiated. And anytime somebody said, well, we need to spend money for this, well, how much? And I will make them, you know, next meeting, bring a list. Let me see how much it's gonna cost. You can't just pull something, well, we're gonna need $10,000, do you? You know, I ask questions like that, and Tammy knows, Brian knows, I'm kind of a pain in its rear end. You know, and does he bully me? No. I don't let them, because by history, I worked for a utility. And on the gas side of the business. And I worked on, we called it third party back then, when the cities had water sewer projects, and I met with contractors and, you know, they try to intimidate me too. It's not gonna happen. So if that's what the board's worried about, no. I don't feel intimidated.
I certainly agree with a lot of the things you're saying, Marcia. One of the things I disagree with, you don't think we got a lot of, we played about everything. Everything. We get on your mic. Sorry. Yeah, so we disagree frequently, but in the end, we will agree on something, and that's the bottom line.
Yes,
Yeah.
work together.
All right.
What day are your meetings on?
The-
What day are your meetings on?
We're on the second Monday of the month. 4 o'clock. Beaver Creek Township Hall.
you have all your meetings there? Ever thought of having them here? Well, I mean, we have, Long Town is 95% of the customers that you guys have, right?
So there has,
To fulfill the request of our attorney, if we can, before we get into that, we can hear from Brian. Then we have done what he asked us to do. We have listened to all of our Lion reps. So
and I definitely
Go
want to
ahead.
do back to that.
Okay.
Do you have more?
Go ahead.
No, no. I think you guys need to give yourselves a lot of slack as far as the HLUA goes. You were a brand new board that came in. I don't think any of you really knew anything, or even some of you probably even not known that there was an HLUA. You guys had a lot of stuff that you had to learn as new board members. You had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of ordinances, a lot of decisions, things you guys were doing. You didn't hear anything about HLUA at that time. So I didn't fault you guys at all. I wouldn't have acted any different. I'm not gonna worry about something that's quiet. I'm gonna worry about the things that are loud and I've got to deal with. And this is about the right time where I think you guys are probably up to speed, comfortable with what you're doing. and getting involved is, you know, that's probably the time. I worked very, very well together. There was a time we would have been throwing a party if one or the other was off. But now I don't think either one of us will want to be on here without the other. I've seen a lot of people come and go. All good people. I can't say anything negative about either Tammy or Marcia. They're doing exactly what they should do. They're asking questions. They're objecting to things. Even today, I mean, there's times where we as a board, we have a difference of opinion. We talk through it, work through it, and quickly come to an agreement on something we can all support. This mediation disagreement with the camp has been going on for about almost 3 years now, I think.
Yeah, if you could share as much of that as you can, because I think that's a huge gray area for us.
So I think the best thing to do is obviously you guys understand there's confidentiality with this mediation. So we can't say this person said this, that person said this, or anything else. But what I'm going to give you and what I passed out to you guys here is what part of the end agreement was.
Is this for the public too, or just us?
It can be, but I wanted to give it to you guys first.
Appreciate that.
This is not the,
I just wanted to, it's a question.
no,
Not right now, no.
Was this done in May? This mediation?
yes, mediation was held May 20th.
And so it's over.
No,
Was there anyone, is there more coming up?
September 25th, I think is what I just read in.
No, nothing is scheduled at this point. But I believe we will talk about that coming up.
But there's still things you can't talk about then because it's in mediation, is that?
No, mediation is confidential. I've been part of numerous confidentiality, non-disclosure agreements through my career. Vast majority of them were only for a short period of time, of a few weeks or a few months, and everything was made public. But there are still some things today that I can't even talk about. I have not gotten any notification that we can say what happened in mediation. What was agreed is that we could relay and say what the agreement is. So we can't say Brian said this or Bob said that or anything else, but we can say what the agreement was. This isn't the actual mediation agreement.
I was gonna say it's pretty
So,
short.
yeah, let me read it and then we can go from there. This is not the whole mediation agreement, but the agreement of how to handle the current list of delinquent invoices that have been turned over to Camp Cornelia for payment. The agreement was to split the effort to collect the delinquent invoices and show that both sides were working in good faith until the agreement for handling things going forward was approved and signed by the HLUA and the Camp Cornelia boards. The list of delinquent invoices was given to Camp Cornelia at mediation, which included all the invoices that had been invoiced to the camp. So this isn't the mediation agreement. This is what was being done to show that both sides were working in good.
So when you say invoices in here, are those invoices like regular invoices, monthly, quarterly, whatever? Quarterly ones?
Yeah.
And this is, are these invoices at the agreed upon rate? Or are these
Agreed upon.
are these new rates that The invoice,
These are
Like,
delinquent invoices.
Delinquent
These are
invoices.
back 3 years.
okay,
These are invoices that were not paid by a cabin holder.
okay,
So it's a list of all the cabin owners and all the invoices that have not been paid to that point.
all right.
And what was agreed was cottage owners with 3 or more delinquent invoices, which there's 16. The CCACOA will contact the cottage owners and notify them they have until X date to bring their balance to 0 with the HLUA, or action by Camp Community will be taken. Due to the short time frame and special handling of these delinquent invoices, the cottage owner is to call 800, our 800 number, extension 4, to arrange payment with the HLUA treasurer, which is myself. Cottage owners with less than 3 delinquent invoices, which there was 31 of. The CCCOA will contact the cottage owners and give them a courtesy heads up that they have delinquent invoices with the HLUA. Cottage owners will be given their delinquent invoice dates and amounts with a total due to the HLUA from the list of delinquent invoices given to Camp Cornelia at mediation. And a message to include a separate check with delinquent in the memo line with their July invoice payment for payment of delinquent invoices. There is no need to call the HLUA. The 800 number for the HLUA is being sent directly to voicemail. Business coordinator receives all voicemails and forwards any voicemails to the admin that are true administrative calls. Operations receives all the voicemails left on extension 1 in addition to the business coordinator, and only replies to those that are true sewer problem calls and deletes those that are not.
So if it has anything to do with the delinquent bill, you just, is that,
Delinquent invoice calls are not being returned and have not been returned for
like, don't take this the wrong way, but
probably June
they are the custom, right?
16th. Camp Cornelia is the customer.
Don't you find it a little hard not to be returning your customers' calls? Like if we did that to any township resident,
No. I think you're misunderstanding.
you just said right
You
here,
just said we're not returning any calls. We are returning calls,
just not the ones that are delinquent.
just not the delinquent ones that we were never ever supposed to get. That's the only ones not being returned.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not casting judgment on, like, but if somebody is delinquent, maybe they wanna call and say, hey, can I pay a portion? Do I got a payment plan, something? Instead of not just returning their calls, that just, I don't know, it seems to me a little odd.
Well,
Let me ask one thing that kind of goes with that. The statements on call the 800 number extension 4 to arrange payment, and the statement there is no need to call the HLUA. Those were made public at some point. I assume.
to be honest, this is the first time that the utility authority is making a statement as to what agreement there was.
Okay, let me ask this then. How long has the call the 800 number statement been in effect?
June 16th, 17th or something.
So it went into effect mid-June somewhere.
Yep. Basically,
But
what
the
is,
public was not notified. How was the public notified to do this?
to do what?
Wasn't that going through Camp?
To call the 800 number. What is written right here? You have 2 main things.
Yeah.
800 number to arrange payment. No need to call on the other one.
Call the 800 number if you have more than 3 delinquents.
Okay, I got that.
Yep.
But here, I want to know when you made the public aware that this was going to be the situation.
Camp Cornelia would have made this aware to them. This was,
When did you make Camp Cornelia aware?
That mediation.
Okay, I gotta give you grace there because we can't talk about things you can't talk about, but
No,
it's a little confusing to me that
there was,
this is the first time we're talking
there
about.
was communication between myself and the camp treasurer and the camp president as soon as this issue arrived.
Is it in writing?
I have emails and some texts.
Okay. But as far as notifying the public, this is the first time we're putting it out there.
No, we've got a alert on our website that no delinquent invoice calls are being returned.
You have that since you started this, right?
Or is this something new?
Um,
Have you,
Hang in there. You'll get your chance.
have you ever not returned delinquent calls ever? Since the start?
never got any.
Okay, I don't want to,
So,
I don't want to get stuck there. Thanks. I got a little bit more.
so the 800 number has been in existence since 2020. And there's 3 or 4 extensions. The phone would ring. And it was very rare that anyone would pick up. Because more than likely operations was in the middle of fixing something. They don't work on just our system, they work on multiple systems. The admin are also part-time, they have other jobs. So actually getting a person to answer the phone before this year was very rare.
Okay, well,
Everything was worked off from the voicemail.
That's fine. Well, you return the voicemails. Okay.
And the true admin and the true operation ones have never stopped being returned.
So if I call 800, there's a thing there, it says, does it now say, if you have 3 or more delinquencies, press 4? Does it say, if you have less than 3 delinquencies, don't press anything because we're not gonna get back to you?
No, because
Should they-
you didn't actually communicate this. This was Camp Cornelia communicating this to their members, not the utility authority.
Right. But you can see the frustration that people are gonna have when they're trying to get through.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I wish this was dealt with right then and there. But unlike what everybody claims, I don't run the utility authority. I don't make the decision. So I'm dependent on the whole board and our attorney. I can't just go out there and do anything. This,
Okay.
you know,
No, yeah, like I said,
I name 100 times in the stuff they send you, but I don't run the utility authority.
that sounds like you used to get stuff about GLUA where they're saying, I'm sure you get things. No, I don't get anything about you. Just rest easy on it. Okay, in the general concept, I'm just trying to wrap my head around from about 1,000 feet up.
Let me be clear. This will look odd to you guys because you have a lot of information you don't have. There's a lot of history you don't have. So it probably does look odd.
So is this a change in your billing process? Or has it's always been the same?
I'm not sure, maybe clarify a little bit.
You're billing with this. We're not calling you back if you're delinquent. When did that just start? Or was that always?
No,
I noticed on your website in bright red,
Yeah.
it said, yeah.
no,
Which
that,
is a little bit,
yeah, that just started.
okay.
Reason for that was because cabin owners were told to call us that we never ever agreed to do that with. That wasn't the agreement.
It sounds a lot like, hey, you owe us money, pay us. Not, let's talk about it.
This is The issue is not between the utility authority and the Camp Cornelia cottage owner. The issue is between the utility authority and the camp board. Unfortunately, the membership is being put in the middle of this issue. And they weren't notified properly. They were told things that were not in the agreement, that were not agreed to.
Okay, well, for the sake of moving on, is there anything else you want to add now? And then we'll try and move forward. I have to apologize. We're not going to resolve all of this.
No,
Just trying to get up here and look at everything.
and our goal here is to provide you with the information that we can on what's going on.
Okay, do you have anything else you'd like to share tonight in regards, in addition to this letter?
I mean, there's been issues all along between the utility authority and the camp, you know, little things here and there, and then little bigger things, and that dies down. So this is nothing new. I mean, I know you guys got a bunch of complaints from people. I think a fair amount of them are to do with this in the mediation. Probably the best bet's to just open it up.
Has this,
Questions.
has that mediation been shared with? Is it done, is it over or is it still?
We don't know. So we had mediation hearing on May 20th. It started at 10 a.m. We completed basically right at noon. Doug and I left that meeting, got lunch, talked the whole way home. We were in complete disbelief that there was an agreement.
Can I ask, was it just you two or the whole board?
No, just, the agreement for mediation was that there can be 2 board members from the utility authority, 2 board members from the camp, 1 attorney for each, and then the mediator.
Was it video?
No, because it's confidential. Myself, Doug Kuiper was there as the chair and the treasurer for the utility authority, our attorney. From the camp president was there and the camp attorney. That was all.
Does north of 10% delinquent shock you a little?
No,
Have late.
no, we're not that. We're about 3%, which is normal bad debt.
We got 47 people delinquent out of 405. That's
In-
more than
In
10%.
17
Yeah.
years.
In 3 years.
But it doesn't matter how many years. If they're delinquent 1 year, I would add them in, but you're.
Bad debt is based, bad debt in all the business stuff I've ever dealt with,
Mhm.
based on a dollar fee. We're talking about, it was about almost 20,000 when we started mediation.
Mm-hmm,
Our annual budget's over $500,000.
mm-hmm.
$20,000, we need more than that for insurance and.
Pretty saying, drop in the bucket. But nevertheless, I'm looking at figures and it says more than 10% are delinquent. Why are they delinquent?
Where you going?
I'm kind of drifting into the questions. I'd like to really try and get, no, that's fine, but I want to make sure that Brian has this opportunity to say whatever he wants to say. Then we'll move from there.
I really don't have, anything else to say. I think the best thing at this point is the boards. You guys ask questions and
Well,
have a dialogue.
I'm gonna do it a little different and give Doug
Yeah.
and Ron the opportunity to say something if they have anything that they'd like to add to this conversation, and then we'll get into the question.
So, thank you. What's started all this is so the special assessment to pay for the loan for the system. In that it is agreed that if a cottage owner doesn't pay that special assessment on their winter tax bill, the Cottage Owners Association makes the township whole at the end of the year. Or where the
Actually,
section
it's
is.
in a few days after.
Yeah. in the special assessment agreement, it says that, OMR cost, while not specifically addressed in this agreement, the parties shall use their best efforts to work with the Higgins Lake Utility Authority to develop and implement rules, regulations, policies regarding billing collection of OMR costs on this. If someone doesn't pay their quarterly O&M bill, we have no stick to enforce them to pay it. We cannot put that on their winter tax bill as a special assessment. Well, we can put it on it. They don't have to pay it. We cannot foreclose on personal property for that.
So could you work with them on a payment plan?
Absolutely.
But how would they know if you don't return their calls?
Oh, you're talking the last 2 months.
But if you're delinquent, you don't return the calls.
Correct.
So,
Let's go through this, okay?
I mean,
So,
like,
so
would you know if they could,
please, let me.
go ahead.
So we had $20,000 approximately of outstanding O&M fees. With no way of collecting. So we enacted a policy saying we're going to handle O&M fees the same as how we handle the special assessment. We are going to take it to the Cottage Owners Association because ultimately they are our only customer. That's what caused this whole blow up. That's why we went to mediation. That's why when we agreed to something that they were supposed to supply those 31 cottages with, this is your past due amount. They didn't do that. They told them to call the 1-800 number. Well, why'd they insist on us providing them with that past due amount if they had no intention of, the agreement was that they would provide the cottage owners with that amount.
What agreement if we do not have a final mediation agreement?
What we agreed to in mediation.
That's not finalized.
Correct.
Okay, and secondly, how long has the mediation been going on?
We had one meeting.
Because I've heard 3 years. But I hear a lot of things,
The issue's been going on that long.
but not the actual, okay, we're gonna have mediation.
Nope, that just started. And we, to be
Give me
honest,
the start date again for it.
it was May 20th is when the mediation hearing took place.
Okay,
We
that,
asked for
was-
mediation in December. It was the camp that pushed it out that far, not the utility authority.
well, once again, let's not point too many fingers. What
So,
else you got, Doug?
so that's the basic gist of this is we are trying to figure out a way of collecting O&Ms that aren't getting paid. And we have no other way of doing it. We have no stick.
That seems outrageous to try to collect money that you have coming to you. No, I don't, yeah, I'm kidding you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have some kind of a,
Because ultimately, if somebody isn't paying on the next budget, everybody else in Camp Cornelia is paying for that person that isn't paying.
Well, just so that I'm clear, how many years, since its inception, where you're running and carrying these deficits or the liabilities? And then at what point did it come down to let's do this about it? It seems like this has been in existence for at least 10 years. You had to have had some deficits over that time. What sparked, okay, we got to do something now?
Just over 2 years ago, there was over $70,000 in bad debt. And let me be clear, the invoices that weren't paid were put on the personal property taxes of the cabin owner. But they were never collected.
Okay,
The treasurer never went after them. I had a discussion with Susie about 2.5 years ago. And she was very upset about what was going on. And because it wasn't just the utility authority that wasn't being paid. The township wasn't being paid for the taxes on the cabins either. And there was,
So,
and then unless the township spent a bunch of money taking these people to court, which was probably gonna cost the township more than what the delinquencies were, we had no way to go after them. Because personal property taxes do not go to the county. Those don't get foreclosed.
so how many years has the Higgins Lake Utility Authority actually been operating?
It became operational in 2007, 8. So 17 years.
Okay,
So I just want to add, I've been reading, I started back in 2007 and I've been reading old minutes. Just for my own sleeping material.
God bless you for doing that.
Well,
Some boring stuff.
it is very boring, but I tell you what, it has taught me a lot of dynamics already about Camp Cornelia and the board, things that I could see starting way back in the beginning that are still carrying on. And yesterday at work, I was slow and I read 2011 and 2012, and they had delinquencies back then. Like, that's when they just started, how do we want to handle these delinquencies? So
Alright.
somewhere around 2009, 2010, it was starting to show up in the minutes.
All right, in my questions, I wonder what you might know about what else they tried, but I do want to hear from Ron if he has anything that he wants to share with us about his.
And I said one thing before you get on, Ron, I think that's a pretty remarkable come down from 70,000 down to 20. I think that's pretty fabulous. You've got some good, well, it's probably due to your board, but
We had no involvement in it.
no,
No.
really? Wow, okay.
Okay, Ron, what you got?
Well, I'll be honest with everybody, I'm new on this board, so I still have a lot of learning to do with, mediation and, what's going on, billing process. Other than that, I think in the camp's bylaws, Article 8, Article 9, sewers and violations of bylaws, it clearly says that the cottage owner shall pay by the due date issued by the sewer authority. Other than that, I do have a lot of learning to do.
I appreciate that. Okay, at this point, I have fulfilled the obligation to our attorney. As far as us as a Lyon Township Board, we can proceed a couple of different ways. We can go into questions. We can start with questions from us or questions from everybody. I would prefer that we stick with us initially. What do you guys think? Open discussion.
Yeah, I've got a few questions. That's,
Okay. I'm okay with that too. I got one or two myself. Okay, let's move in that direction then. Does the board have any questions to the Higgins Lake Utility Authority in regards to what we've been discussing?
yes, I do. When you guys, when you raise your prices quarterly, obviously, hopefully you're notifying the camp, correct?
Just like I was notified about my garbage fee going up.
That's not my question.
But it's a valid point because we are under no requirement.
I didn't raise your garbage fees. I don't. You're my team.
We are under no requirement.
So you just, raise it and send them the bill?
No.
July.
Yeah.
If our budget starts in
Yeah.
July, so if there's a raise, it starts in July.
Doesn't that,
Sir.
doesn't that strike you odd that you would just do that to the customer without informing them? Like not answering the calls with, like this, they are the customer. I don't care, they're the customer. You guys you provide them a service. They pay you for the service. Whether you don't tell them, oh, your bill's going up. Oh, really? What? Nobody told me. Now I have to budget my money elsewhere. You know what I mean? I'm not criticizing you. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that for a customer to have to do that, it's frustrating. I mean,
So,
if it happened to me, I'd be like, what?
It's $20 a quarter. And
I get it.
our Camp Cornelia cottage owner's fee this year took quite a hike. We didn't get any kind of note before the bill came. We just assume that every time it comes around, it's going to go up.
Kevin,
I have a personal thing with. I really dislike hearing things like, we don't have to tell them. This previous board here was full of that. You get into this sort of a pompous attitude where. They're too stupid and it's their own problem.
so Kevin,
Yes.
your budget and the increase in the quarterly bills for the current calendar or fiscal year. That was, we had 4 months of conversations at our meetings discussing what we were thinking of doing. We had no attendance.
Okay, but you were saying and doing, you just did it. You were discussing it, I get it. No,
It's not like.
and then you
just
just,
went to the meeting and decided we're increasing the rates.
Were any of those meetings videotaped?
No.
Okay. I think,
like I said, but criticize you guys. I'm just trying to bring something to the light, which probably frustrates a lot of people. Saying, hey, if you would have told me last month, my quarterlies are going up, I could have budgeted my money differently. That's all. And then they would have felt,
Our budget is approved in June. Our budget's approved in June, usually the second week of June. Couple times we've had to schedule a special meeting for later in June to approve the budget.
and it goes up in
Budget-
July.
Huh?
It goes up in July?
Yep. So it doesn't give you any time.
So we
So
actually
Kevin-
briefly talked at our last meeting. Next year in April, we'll add a little note with the billing that
And I-
possibly you're gonna have a bill
And-
in July.
Any heads up?
Increase.
But it's a problem. People are complaining because they did not get notified that there was gonna be an increase. Let's just look at that plain and simple.
Yeah. I would be,
My cell phone bill, my internet bill, everything goes up. I don't get notified until the bill comes and it's increased. So that's for everything goes up without,
well,
once it's verified.
we obviously have some positions there.
Oh, yes, but you know, we're a utility. Does consumers send you a note? Guess what? We're gonna raise your
Absolutely.
rates. No, they do not. Does Charter?
Okay, let's keep that on it for now. Let's back up. Are there any other questions from the board? We had just.
The same notification we get from every other company. So
You are not every other company.
you have one customer. That's it.
Camp Cornelia.
Anyway, let's back up. Any other questions from the board members?
If I call the 800 number right now, well, let's say if you're delinquent 3 times, don't you think that should be a priority? I mean, that's not a very hard fix.
no, it says for sewer problems, select extension 1. For billing questions, select extension 2. To speak to the administrator, extension 3. For land use and the business coordinator, extension 4.
It sounds like it, and then number 5 should say, and none of your things will be returned. To me, it would be very helpful if you kept those same things or whatever, but if you want people who are 3 or more delinquencies to call and push for, that should be to me, that should be on the answering machine, so people would know. And and the other one is if you're delinquent, then if I'm delinquent one day and I want to call and find out what I'm gonna do, what do I do?
Okay. It's fair for you to criticize this board for what we've done. I don't disagree with anything you said, Steve. Please don't take any of this that way. I don't disagree with you at all. But if you're gonna criticize this board, you also have to criticize the Camp Cornelia board for not doing what was agreed to be done.
We are not here to do what you say.
Yeah. Shot at them, yeah.
Well, it's coming up if that's the case. Um,
I just,
to defend yourself by saying this isn't fair doesn't have a lot of weight.
I'm just trying to help troubleshoot it. If a simple addition to the phone message could take care of those 13 that are delinquent so many times over that they give them a spot to go. And then it could say, yeah, I'm John Smith. I've got 4 delinquencies. What am I supposed to do? And then
Okay.
somebody will call John Smith back and tell him what to do.
Calls were returned. And payments were collected. We collected about $5,000 out of it
But I,
until we were completely swamped.
but see, that
That
way,
was a direct violation of the agreement.
but that way, if you narrowed it down to the 13 that are the biggies, you're not gonna get swamped. You're only gonna get 13 calls.
Okay, there's a lot going on here and with the confusion of the mediation. I'm gonna call a halt to it right now in regards to that. We're referring to things that may or may not have happened, and then only some people are privy to whether it happened or not. I think a lot was said. I think that as a township board, we can probably come up with a list of questions or suggestions that may help. I don't want to belabor the point because we're seriously handicapped by mediation and statements that,
Did you see that?
you know, unless all this stuff is in writing and I know it was handed out to them, which we don't know, we're just arguing about nothing. Unless the township board members have any other questions, which may be, I guess I would open it up to public comment with a caveat. This is not going to be a shooting match. When you get up and you talk your 3 minutes and sit in that chair in the microphone, it'll be recorded. You can say a lot of things. They don't have to answer. We don't have to answer, but you can certainly express your point to the best of your ability. And we will take that into consideration. And I'm assuming that they would too.
Can we hold just for a second?
Can we what?
Can we just hold for 1 second?
Sure, but why? If it's for us to talk more, no.
Did you get this?
Sewer
Got
bill?
your Name on.
Yeah, I've seen the letter from the attorney.
Oh, I saw that. Okay.
Oh, you're still.
Still the other day, right? At our meeting. Oh,
No.
she wasn't in the back?
This was a letter from the utility.
No.
The attorney.
Did she speak the other day at your meeting?
No, that's the.
Who was the lady last one?
That's the supervisor.
Okay.
No, our attorney was not. No, this
There's
was the last.
something else you want to get in, Brian, go for it.
No, go ahead.
From 1,000 feet up, some things are becoming clearer, some are getting a little cloudier. But it is a public meeting for the public to speak. So if anyone has anything to say, you don't have to get too close to that mic. It should work right about from where you are.
As long as they can hear me. I'd like to
So
refer
I'm gonna give you
my bill. I was in arrears because I did not catch the increase. I was not told about the increase and I didn't catch it. Now, since then, I did catch it and I brought it up to date because I intend to pay it each time. You got to tell us. If you're going to make an increase, you need to tell us. That's number one. Number two, when I was in arrears, the next invoice didn't tell me I was in arrears. Okay. Again, how do I know I'm in arrears if it doesn't tell me? All I got was a bill. Okay, that's number two. I don't understand why you can't take phone calls. You know, I think that that's part of the job to answer questions from your customers. And the final thing, I understand you return checks that people tried to pay their delinquency.
Are you talking to me or the board?
Forward. Okay,
You seem to be looking at me.
well, you know, I'm okay, if it's on you, but it is my understanding, people try to pay you and you sent the money back. Okay, why would you do that? Those are my questions. And I really don't understand any of it. Really, very frustrating. And by the way, I didn't say my name. My name is David Wetmore. I live at 105 Chesaning Legion Drive. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anybody else want to come up and speak their peace of mind on these issues? And David was right. Start by identifying yourself.
I'm Betty Nagel Cribbins. I live at 120 Saginaw Legion Drive. I've been the secretary for CCCOA as up until 3 weeks ago for almost 17 years. I brought some papers along I thought might be helpful to you as well. May I approach and give them to you? I'm just gonna.
Is this a happy story where you're retired after many years of service, I hope?
Still, it shows what's set. I'll keep up my interpret it.
Okay. If you have copies, I can make copies for the rest of us as a board.
I got copies.
So I can keep these, right?
Yes, sure. And then this is from their website and from our previous agreement when the camp was put in and the sewer system was put in. Then these are the summary that was made by our two members of what happened in the mediation. And I understand the mediation was signed. I unfortunately don't have a copy of that. I also have the paper that preceded the mediation when our attorney shared all the background from CCCOA. So I'm happy to give you that as well.
Is that the mediation summary from Camp Cornelia?
What did you say, Brad?
Is that the mediation summary that was sent by Camp Cornelia?
That's what we said.
Okay.
Mediate.
Okay, this is a lot of information. We're certainly not going to be reading it now.
That's true.
But I will make sure that the board members do get copies of all of this.
To add to what David has said, I said I was privy because I've been on the board for so long to some of the frustrations that members have had. And we actually had 2 cottages that were sold, that proceeds went to the, trying to think of my word now. They went to the title company to pay off the delinquencies. And they sent that check to HULA and it was refused and sent back. So only since that mediation have we been able to send that money to HULA that they've accepted it. Otherwise, it was sitting in an escrow account at the title company. So
Can you clear up when you say sent the money, was that from members or the organization?
it was a cottage that we took back. And so we as an organization sold the cottage.
Okay.
And when the cottage was sold, we took from the sale, the amount that was owed to HULA for arrearages and the amounts that were owed for any other arrearages. And when we sent it to HULA, they sent it back to us
Are you talking about directly from the camp or from a title company?
from the title company. The title company sent it to HULA and it was sent back. So they've kept it in escrow until we had this mediation. Then it got sent over.
Betty, when did the camp work with the utility authority on the whole title company being used?
That's between the attorneys. I don't know those dates.
Well, because I don't think anybody on this board has any knowledge of the camp or anyone ever contacting us about working with the title company.
The check was sent to you from the
No,
title
that's not
company
what I'm asking.
with the cottage address on it.
Wait a minute. This is not us interrogate them. This is, they get to say what they want. We can take it into consideration. Maybe you want to look into that more and get back to or whatever. It's not going to turn into something right here, right now. Do you have any other input other than that?
The only thing I did say, and I'd like to repeat, is my understanding was the mediation was agreed and signed by both parties. I just unfortunately don't have a copy. I
Okay.
tried to get that for you for tonight, but that was the summary of what our people took from the meeting when they left.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. Who else would like to speak?
Joan Ballard, CCCOA Treasurer, 126 Lincoln Park. I would like the Township Board to know that for probably 16 to 17 years, HULA billed the users of the sewer system and took their money. When they made this change where they were going to write it off of the users and bill Camp Cornelia, they never discussed it with us or gave us warning or gave us an opportunity to work out.
All right, hang on just a second. If we say anything on the side, you have to say it loud enough for everybody to hear.
No.
We cannot be having side conversations.
There was no conversation.
Okay, I'm hearing voices, let's put it that way.
We were never discussed. We could have probably avoided this whole situation if they had come to us first and said, hey, we need some help collecting these bills. And we would have done with them exactly what we agreed to at remediation, which if Kevin can attest to, I work with him and the Beaver Creek treasurer at the end of every tax season due date and say who has not paid. They tell me who has not paid. I contact those people and say, call the township, you owe money, you're gonna lose your privileges. And I believe I can say in good faith that
One,
one,
I think there's one.
oh, but that's this year. We haven't talked about
That
yet.
Last winter,
Last week.
last winter.
So we have one person and none on Beaver Creek. So it
Okay.
works.
You
If they
guys,
would just call.
you guys have a good weapon though to use against somebody.
Yes.
No.
And that's the weapon
No
we were
one goes
using.
in till you pay, so that's
I also wanted to add that there were return checks from individuals who tried to pay their HULA sewer bill. And I would also like to mention that mediation, what we have been told is not confidential. It's the only thing that are confidential are court cases. Mediation is not a court case. They claim that they can't talk about it, but they just sat and said everything that happened at mediation. So they're disclosing it, but they're saying they can't talk about it. So whatever. And then Tammy, the dues for CCCOA this year went down $25. They did not go up. So I would like you to correct you on that.
I will check that. Thank you for bringing
You're
that to my
welcome.
attention.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for keeping it under 3 minutes. Anybody else got any comment from the public?
I'm Fred Bradley, 111 Castor Legion Drive. I was on the board for several years. I just now got off at the annual meeting. I'm also the governor liaison and I was chairman of the lease committee for years. And they were right. There was people, we sold houses, not just ones we took back, that sent checks. And they were sent back. One was like $1,800. Where a place has sold, and the guy was behind, so they sent the check, they clear it, and they never cashed. Another question I wanted to ask was, or a statement. If they only keep saying the 405 grinder pumps, how many's been replaced already? Mine's been replaced 3 times that I know of. Several was replaced in a brownout. So or is that figure coming into this, 10, 15-year lifespan, what they're saying, how many's been replaced? Be my question. That, what's that figure start? Oh, right, mine's been replaced this year, so I got another 10, 15 years on mine. And instead of the 405 off, they only have once, several has already been replaced.
Maybe without a back and forth, they could tell you, maybe they,
Right, and And for several years, it went on their taxes. And he's right about the bylaw. The bylaw is for the yearly payment, not for the OEM fees. It doesn't have nothing to do with the OEM payment. That was for the yearly payment, which we do collect and pay. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I can add real quick on the grinder pump stuff. So when the system was put in, there was 400 pumps total in the system. When there's an issue with a grinder pump, operations services goes out, removes that pump, puts either a rebuilt or a new pump in there. That pump is then taken back, rebuilt or scrapped, depending on its age and condition. And if it's repaired, then it's put back in the queue. So whatever grinder pump someone had day one, if there was any work done, that grinder pump's somewhere else. And it could have been, some of them been 3, 4, or 5 different places. We replaced, there was 49 grinder pumps destroyed in the brownout, along with some alarm panels, controls, other stuff too. It was over $130,000 in damage. So 49 brand new pumps were put in the system 2-3 years ago when the brownout happened. In total, from day one to today, we purchased and put into service approximately 100 brand new grinder pumps. So that means there's 300 still in the system that are 17 years old. And those will all have to be replaced at some. What we've been budgeting and looking at is 30 brand new pumps per year for the next 10 years. That'll put it at 28 years from the original build.
Thanks, sir. I got a quick question. Is there something in place now to prevent the brownout damage that occurred?
Yes, me.
So you're gonna plug one hand in a socket?
No, the only thing we can do, and I have done this a couple of times already since then. As soon as I know or I'm informed that there's a brownout, I call Consumers Energy. I explain to them who I am, who I'm with, and what's going on. And I demand that they immediately cut the power to the area. Otherwise, they're going to destroy a lot of equipment. That is the only means that we have available. We have looked into adding brownout protection to the system. And that's something we need to do. Unfortunately, that's going to cost more money.
All right,
The power goes out. all the
Here?
time.
No, just so everybody knows, we have a major power issue in this area. On July 5th, I was monitoring the voltage at my place. It was down in the low 108s.
are those people,
They could not keep the aerators running at the treatment plant because they continuously tripped the breakers due to current draw from low voltage. We also experienced that,
I just say that 'cause I think I'm on the same grid as,
you are, so what they're
Camp
doing,
Cornelia.
so they've just run a bunch of brand new lines from Grayling down to 4 Mile. They're running some more lines. They're building a brand new power station at 4 Mile.
Yeah.
Our power comes from there.
Yeah, I saw that they were doing that.
They have no power up there because the factory's taking it off. Our power comes from there. Hopefully, once they get that completed, we should be in better shape.
About everybody in our neighborhood has a Generac generator, because your power's gonna go out for 2 or 3 days, a couple times a year.
I got 2 generators in my garage.
was there ever a cost estimate to haul in on a trailer, a huge generator, if the power went out?
In power what?
Well, Consumers has those ginormous generators. Is there any ability to get one from them if the power went out?
I don't
Yeah.
think it could produce enough power to do
Okay.
anything.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there any other public comments?
Rod Ballard at 126 Lincoln Park. And I just want to say that, when Doug referenced earlier the agreement that the CCCOA was liable for payments. That was only for the bond, because we didn't want the bond to go in arrears, and that was established 17 years ago. I think it's Ray, is it Ron, I'm sorry. He was also correct that the billing, quarterly billings go to the cottage owners, who in turn pay the Higgins Lake Utility Authority. Brian, I'm sure your checks have gone to the Higgins Lake Utility Authority for 17 years, just like everybody else's. Problem exists then. 3 months ago, they changed whatever it is they changed. And then when people tried to contact them, that's when all this influx of desperation and people being upset with the committee because they wanted to pay the money.
So the billing process was changed out of the blue?
Yes, just months ago, after they went through, well, 3 years, but so this is all just kind of came about and they weren't accepting money. And the other thing they didn't accept, as I know this personally, is people tried to call to change the addresses on their bills. They wouldn't accept them. They said, no, it has to come from Camp Cornelia. And Camp Cornelia, and the other thing, I can't believe that they never sent you a copy of the mediation report. This has been months, been over with. I can't believe they don't send you, and did you send the Beaver Creek Board the mediation report when it was all finalized?
It was never finalized.
Yeah, that's finalized.
Get me excited now.
Can you get us a copy? Because I'm sure Doug and I have signed it.
So the thing is, did you even know they were in mediation? So there's a lot of communication that's going on between them, between us, and it's not the CCCOA board. It is the Higgins Lake Utility Authority with the 405 customers. Camp Cornelia, Cottage Owners Association Board, is the voluntary board, is not the customer. Higgins Lake Utility Authority. And that's where the rub's coming in. And once you get that settled and get them to figure out that we're the customers and not the CCO board, I think then we can move and work together and get this resolved. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment. All very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I offer one.
Generally, you get a second shot if nobody else is gonna say anything. I can certainly allow it.
I just wanted to share because Rod reminded me that as the secretary back in 2009, every time we changed a lease, every time we added someone to a lease, every time somebody bought a place, I brought the first page of the lease, all the signature pages to township assessor. Lyon Township then changed their records, and every time there was always a new address, a new billing address, and new names known. I was told by the treasurer at that point that anytime there was a delinquency by year end on the bond payment, they would add it to their billing for the taxes, and it was always paid up. So that was working very nicely. The agreements we've had in the original setup of the camp did not include any discussion or decision on OMRs. When I sent the lease changes to Beaver Creek, where the township office is where the HULA board meets, I was told just last year that those address changes and information never got sent over to HULA down the hall. So I stopped last year doing it. So now I tell anyone who buys a cottage or adds someone to take the first page of their lease, the signature pages, and the affidavit that township presents, and take it down to the township office themselves. So I'm not involved as a middleman anymore. So that's what's been happening. And I have yet, I picked on you guys, I guess, in particular, because I said, all of the people at Lyon Township, except for one, are new. So when you go in, make sure they're going to tell HULA what the change in address is. Otherwise, go down to HULA yourself with this information. I've not had one person come back and tell me that their information did not get sent in.
Well,
So,
that was certainly accurate and sound advice.
yeah. And I do have one more piece that I should have given you that law. This is a discussion between the two attorneys since the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other public comment? Okay. Without public comment, generally, we always close with the public having the last word. I'd just like to change it in regards to our board. We got a lot of material to look at. I'm not gonna discount either side of what has happened. I can tell you that this tape's probably going to our attorney. A lot going on here, but you know, we can't fix anything until we start, so we started.
And it sounds like everybody wants to fix it too, and it's working on a plan and stuff like that. Hopefully this will all get done. It'll be okay.
Communication, that's what I always say. It happens here too, so don't feel like bad by any means.
Okay, and I would offer, it's also a board meeting for you if somebody wants to just put a closing comment without opening up something.
No, thanks for inviting us. If you got any further questions, let us know. Try to get through this. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you all for coming. Thanks, public, for coming. Sam, I don't think they ate all your candy, so you can still count some on the way out.
Barb, do you do any more?
We'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting. Yeah. I'm not my problem.
I'm sorry.
Whatever it is.
All that being said, I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. We have a second. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Meeting is adjourned at
8:29.
Oh.